Howdy. So you may notice that the last episode, vid, whatever you want to call this thing, I was wearing the same shirt. That's because it's the same day, and I'm just sort of doing two of these in one hit because quite a bit of time has elapsed. So I'm trying to catch up madly. I have turned the camera around, so a little bit of smoke and mirrors. You think I'm in a different place, but I'm not. I was just facing that way, or this way before. So anyway, here we go. And I turned the kettle off. Kettle's been boiled. So after Majura pass, lovely night. We in the morning we sort of fixed up a few bits and pieces in the van, and it's around that point that you reach the start of that straight line. So there's the 90-mile straight, apparently the longest straight set of road in the world. I can't substantiate that, but maybe you can Google it. It's 146 kilometres, 90 miles, and it's near Kaguna, I think. So we headed past there, we took the obligatory photo, and then after that you get through to Balladonia, and Balladonia is near where Skylab fell from the skies in not Skynet. Skynet's something else with, Terminator and stuff like that, but Skylab was a real satellite that fell from the Earth onto the ground, and Balladonia was the spot. And so 1979 it hit. So there's all sorts of memorabilia there, which is pretty cool. And as we're traveling that area, we started noticing. So you're getting to the western end of the Nullarbor, and started noticing more taller vegetation, and then we both sort of noticed that there was some trees that were decent sized trees, maybe 5 to 10 meters or something, and the trunks are actually a rich, shiny chocolate brown, almost an orangey brown color. And so we had to investigate some of that. So I put some of that up. So the destination on that day was Norseman. And Norseman is a little mining community. It's not, it is little. It is little, but there's in terms of mining, it's a massive mining community, and they put out something like 100,000 ounces of gold a year. There's a massive tailings dump, which is the material that they sift through to look for the gold. That material that is rubbish. There's a massive big dump where they dispose of that right near the town, and the mine is obviously right near that. Up behind that is a hilltop walk, and so given it was relatively late in the day that we got there, we quickly went up to the hilltop walk, had a bit of a mooch around there, watched the sunset. There's a lookout spot that was really pretty. The story of how Norseman came to exist is that there was a fellow called, John. And he was travelling there with his horse, and in the morning he noticed that his horse had pulled up lame, and one of his legs was being held up. And when he investigated, he had this big piece of quartz under his hoof, and as it turns out, this quartz contained a big chunk of gold. Now the horse was called Norseman, so hence he fixed his claim there, and he had a bit of success. And so anyway, Norseman came into existence.
What's happening there, Bree?
Huh? Oh, mining, gold mining.
Not watching the road, but gold mining, yes.
Yeah. 100,000 tonnes per year. Sorry, I'll take that back. 100,000 ounces per year come out of here still. And it's really hard work because, unlike the goldfields of Coolgardie, it's which is alluvial soil, this is actually very hard rocky soil. So the actual process of getting the gold out is much more difficult because it's hard rock, not soft soil. There you go.
There you go.
We then headed off in the morning. You basically cross the Nullarbor, cross the Nullarbor, and then down to Esperance. And so Esperance was our destination. And when we arrived at the, I think it's called the Bathers Paradise Caravan Park, plugged in the 240, but I found that the mains power wasn't working in the van, and I'm starting to turn my hair off. It's like, oh, what's going on with this thing? And so there's a battery management cupboard just behind me. There's this little triangular cupboard. You open it up and there's the battery management system in there. And the whole thing had actually fallen off its mount. So there's a couple of things. I might put up a photo. There's a couple of things in there, but the whole thing is there's like a couple of screws that hold this whole thing in. And those couple of screws hold it into two little bits of thin timber, which are stapled with 3 little staples into the cabinetry above. It's just rubbish. And again, why do I have to fix this stuff? So anyway, I found out that there's a Design RV, so that's the brand of caravan, Design RV dealer in Perth. So I thought, right, I'm going to give them a call, give them a piece of my mind, see if we can get some warranty stuff done on this. A few other sort of niggly things, and really to get them to check out all the nuts and bolts and screws. Anyway, so I phoned the dealer and I talked to this lovely chick, and lady, and she says, yes, no problems. We can get the work done for you sometime in July. I said, no, love, I'm on holidays. I'm on 3 months holidays, and July I'll be back in Melbourne. Oh, we can't really help you then. Oh, maybe you need to talk to the guys back in Ballarat, see what their game plan is for this. And it's like, what the hell? So anyway, now before we left, I had a what they call an inverter put into the van. So that means that with I've got 220 amp hours of lithium power and almost 400 watts of solar on the roof. Now what you can do there, that's all 12 volt power. So most things in here are 12 volt, but what we didn't have is 240, for example, to do charge a laptop. Except when we were actually on a powered site. So I got a really good Enerdrive 2000 watt inverter put in, and the guy who did it was really quite good, young bloke Michael. And so I thought I was getting quite desperate, so I texted him, and he's pretty responsive. So I texted him. I said, look, pull up the caravan site. I don't have 240. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what's going on. Have you got any ideas on what to first look for? And he got back and said, oh, wow, you've made really good progress, well done. He said, look, have a look at the inverter that he put in and see if the circuit breaker has tripped on it. And I replied, I said, look, we haven't actually used the inverter yet, but yeah, okay, I'll have a look. And it's under the bed just here behind us. And so I pull up the bed. And as soon as I pull up the bed and I look down at the inverter, I can see that one of the plugs has just worked its way loose. And the reason is I put a folding camp chair on it. So the folding camp chair has knocked it off. Now, the way this works is that when you plug mains in, mains comes into the caravan through the inverter to the rest of the appliances. So when you're not using the inverter, power just flows through. If you are using the inverter, it gets the power from the battery. So if you unplug one of these, one's an in, one's an out. If you dislodge one of those, no power. So as soon as I plugged it back in, you just heard beep, beep, the microwave goes on, the fridge goes on. It's like, right. I said, all right, you're a bloody champion, mate. Well done. So at least that was sorted. And so then the next thing was, I thought, well, I'm going to have to somehow fix the whole BMS, the battery management system, back on. But worry about that later. I don't have the fixings with me at the moment. So, right, so we went for a scenic drive around Esperance, and it's just a stunning place here. The rock formations, the beaches, the crystal clear water, the white sand. It's just something else. It's spectacular. So we spent the day doing a scenic drive around. There's like a tourist drive that you can do, and I'll put photos in, clippings in, and what have you. So, but it was just magnificent. It's a sort of place that I think people could easily move to. I don't know what the job market's like and what have you, but in terms of lifestyle and the natural beauty and the geography, it's just amazing. Oh, hang on, Mel's coming. Anyway, I'm going to have to just pause for a sec. Hi, darling. I'm just talking to our friends. So don't put your clothes back on and then you can come through here. Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. Anyway, so in the afternoon we watched the sunset and we then headed off to Bunnings to get some fixing some brackets and stuff that I could use, and had some dinner. I had a quiet night, and then in the morning I got up and started working on that. Pretty well got it to a point that I think it's going to hold reasonably well. So then after that, we then decided to do a little bit more mucking around. And believe it or not, there is she needs her slippers, a full-size replica of Stonehenge. Stonehenge in Sorry about that. Stonehenge in the UK, and it is literally a one-to-one replica of it. There's a long story about it, but anyway, it's just outside of Esperance. Well worth a visit. We went in there. It cost us a couple of bucks to get in there. A couple of bucks, $14 each, I think, something like that. And you get to walk around. The lady there, Sue, was fantastic. She told you the whole story about. I said to her, I said, look, I've got to ask a question, and she goes, I know, why? I said, exactly, why? Like, why would you do this? It's quite a long, convoluted story, and well worth visiting. I think it was well worth visiting. You from the road, you can't actually see because they've put up a great big sort of fence, steel fence, that you can't see through it. So unless you actually pretty well go in there, you can't. You can't view it, but it's pretty spectacular. Mel and I saw the original Stonehenge in '97, and that in itself is pretty spectacular. But this is the difference with this one is that this is what Stonehenge in the UK would have looked like back something like 2,000 years before Christ, where there was actually 136, 137 of these monoliths on top of each other. Now, apparently over the thousands of years in between, a lot of them have been pilfered, stolen, what have you. There's only 85 or 86 of them left. This is as it would have stood. Now, the thing that I pointed out is that, in fact, it's not. It might be the one-to-one replica of it, but these have been set into a concrete base, whereas the ones in the UK, the length here is the same as the length down here. So what they actually did, they dug holes, they pushed the monoliths on there, and then they tipped them up and then filled the earth around it. So they're actually twice the length. So some of these ones that are 5 metres are actually 10 metres because it's 5 metres under. Anyway, keep going. So from there we went down Cape Le Grand, and Cape Le Grand again is an amazing place. Words don't describe it. It's just stunning. So lots of vids and pics we took there. The little fly in the ointment on that day was that we decided there's you sort of come from Esperance down into it, but there's actually a way to drive back along the beach, and so it's about 22k. And so we went, well, let's have a crack at it. And so we got there, we let our tyres down and what have you, and we started driving. Now the weather was pretty grey. It was overcast, rainy, and what have you.
What do you think?
I don't know.
But we thought we'll give it a go, and so we started driving, and I reckon we would have got, it was okay. We would have got about 5k, 6k, and you could see we were doing about 45, 50 kilometres an hour, but you could see the clouds ahead of us forming, and it was pretty dark going back towards Esperance. And then we started seeing lightning or what have you, and we decided, no, it's not worth it, let's turn around. So we turned around, and then we saw a set of headlights coming towards us, and as we see these headlights, the guy sort of waving us down, and turns out it's a couple that we'd actually met a few days before, and they said, oh, are you turning around? We were going to follow you. And I said, yeah, look, I think it's looking a bit sketchy, let's turn around. So he was quite happy with that. He turned around. So they went back, and we kept going on just the normal road. Before we even got to the end of the beach section, which was by that time was about 6 or 7k, the rain had actually caught up with us. And so as we got onto the bitumen, I didn't even bother pumping up the tyres. It started pouring down, and then we hit a storm cell, the likes of which I've not seen in years. Rain was coming. It's such like this massive rain, and coming sideways at us. And in fact, we had to slow down to like 5 kilometres an hour. And at one point, a tree had actually come past and rolled over not a tree, but like a shrub, probably a 3-metre big shrub had come blown over the road. So pretty frightening. But then no sooner it came than it gone. So we kept going. And then that night we had arranged to catch up with friends of Mel's. Brother of friends of Mel's. Mel knows a lovely lady, Krista, who she walks the dogs with at the dog park. Paul and Lee, Paul's Krista's brother, and we had dinner at their place. They live on top of this beautiful place up top of the hill overlooking Esperance, and it was just stunning. Hit it off really well, and great food, great laughs, great drink. And before we knew it was about almost 11 o'clock, so we said, right, we've got to go. But we got a heap of information from them about what to see and what to do, particularly going west. And yeah, we had a lovely night, just amazing hospitality and friendship, and we were just indebted to them for the time that we had. So it was an awesome night, enjoyed by all.